It's the worst of the CBC for August 20th, 2021, the show where I watch the CBC so you don't have to. And this one's more of a meta one. It's election time. So we'll do it. This isn't going to be the proper format. We'll go 9.5 out of 10 on the Rosemary Barton scale. Actually, if it's a meta one, 10 out of 10. It's a 10 out of 10 on the Rosemary Barton scale. We'll get that out of the way. The CBC is liberal propaganda, and the mainstream media is as well. Now, we talked about the media bribe, the $600 million. We've gone over this ad nauseum. But there's a couple things that they specifically said to that make me really, really, really worried. Um, I'll go the first, maybe the smaller one. But they start to put forward statistics like 76% of Canadians are in favor of vaccine passports, which I don't believe. And if it really is 76% of Canadians are in favor of mandatory vaccine passports where you have to comply, the country's lost. It's just lost. I do think there's a distinct polling bias, and they're not being able to poll the people who are against it. Maybe they're hanging up in the pollsters. Whatever it is, I don't believe the number is 76%. I do think this is far more of a 50-50 proposition of should people be forced to get vaccinations to have the ability to participate in the domestic economy. Now, maybe it is around 70%, and the media has done its job, turned our population into a bunch of freedom-hating cowards who are just so scared of the sniffles that they will throw all their civil liberties to the wind for Big Daddy Trudeau to save them. If that's true, we're screwed. I don't know, let's move to Afghanistan. Let's not move to Afghanistan, but you get my point. So we can go on is that really the number? Did they just pull this number out of their ass? It seems like they did, or the polling companies. They even were saying things like you can't trust online surveys because they're not representative, kind of indicating that they see most of the traffic online is heavily against vaccine passports. Now, that can be explained. Like the PPC had a lot more of an online presence last election than they did here. A lot of people who might support, let's say, anti-vaccine passports, a lot of people voting might be Americans who click a Canadian poll and say no to vaccine passports because they feel strongly about it. And I don't know how many, if you ever clicked an online poll, how many vaccine passport polls did you click on that were American? So I can understand, yes, online samples are not representative, but I can't believe that 76% is the number. The more troubling thing, though, is this one really gave me chills. Is the guy covering it was, I don't know, Baldy McWhite dude. I'm not sure why he was allowed on TV because he's bald and he's white, so he had to do extra hard in the propaganda department to get on the air. And he was one. I mean, he used other things. He called the Liberals' plan like we need to build back better, like that's your sort of World Economic Forum Great Reset type thing. Like we must build back better. And you know me, I don't believe in conspiracies of competence, and I try and explain how these sort of wide overarching global conspiracies that people yell about and the lizard people in the deep state can actually be explained with a few simple psychological studies and entropy and just some bad ideas and some cowardice. A lot of it can be done just by stupidity and entropy. Now, every time I watch the CBC, though, it looks like more and more of a coordinated effort to drive some sort of globalist cabal of global technocratic leaders, like authoritarianism. Is that kind of what they're advocating for, like rule by technocrats? Now, I still believe that it's stupidity and entropy, but they're doing a good job of trying to convince me that the World Economic Forum is trying to destroy the world. The most concerning thing, though, is not only is he using that language, but then he went on to talk about the people following Justin Trudeau, or sort of claiming that it's a group of anti-vaxxers and anti-maskers, right? There's no other reasons to protest Justin Trudeau. These people are crazy. Okay, they're booing Justin Trudeau because they're crazy. Only a crazy person would boo Justin Trudeau, who is the most magnanimous person I've ever seen. But they covered the people as it's not like it's organic. There's people in each riding Justin Trudeau goes to the boot him. It's like these people and they're following Justin Trudeau in a convoy and they're unsafe and they're making people unsafe. Like they were really going after and setting up an excuse for Justin Trudeau to sort of ban protests of him at these campaign stops, and to tell people that there's no organic pushback to Justin Trudeau. It's just some lunatics, and they want to kill you they're outside without a mask, nowhere near you, but they're dangerous. They're gonna get us all killed. So they've started to push the protesting Justin Trudeau is dangerous because we need to build back better. It was the most disturbing set of globalist gobbledygook I've seen in the last couple of weeks from the CBC. So I felt that was what really needed to be talked about. Is they are, yes, biased. Like, yes, I tuned in and they're going on David Bush and like his comments on, like, they're trying to turn not supporting Black Lives Matter and saying, looting and rioting is bad. Even like the guy said, like, the looters and rioters should be punished just like the thugs that killed George Floyd. Like, he called the police officer who killed George Floyd thugs. He just said looting and rioting is also bad. And like, they bring people on and be like, oh my God, it's racism. This is the most racist. We can't have this. We can't have people like David Bush in the country. It's ridiculous. And David Bush gave a half-hearted apology. At least it was half-hearted. But don't apologize. Just don't apologize. I know Aaron O'Toole will like force you out of the party, but be a hero. Don't apologize. Build up a name, and then do something else. You join the PPC if you need to. So today, it's a 10 out of 10, and it looks like the push that they're going to try and do is they're going to try and delegitimize anyone who protests or boos Justin Trudeau. So if Justin Trudeau comes to your area, I highly recommend you go out there and boo him. But they're going to pretend that if you're in BC and you go out and boo him, you're the same person who was in Cobourg, Ontario, booing him, because you're just dangerous. You're following on Justin Trudeau to miscreate a narrative, and there's only one reason people would vote boo Trudeau is because they're crazy anti-maskers and you're dangerous. So the media is really trying to push. They do hate freedom of speech, but they're really trying to say, any protests against this government, they're now trying to classify as dangerous, which is dangerous. A very dangerous precedent to set. So thank God I will not be watching the CBC tomorrow, as it is Saturday, and I give my brain a rest. See you Sunday.